So, what really happens when you hand one of the world's most powerful new technologies, I'm talking about artificial intelligence, of course, to top business leaders? Well, we're about to find out. We're going to dive into a really fascinating new study that explores this exact thing, the intersection of AI and leadership in a super high stakes global industry.
And this really gets to the question that's on everybody's mind, right? Is AI just another fancy tool for leaders to use, or does it fundamentally change what it even means to be a leader? Does it make them stronger, or does it maybe start to make them obsolete?
And that, right there, is the heart of the problem this research is tackling. AI brings these incredible new opportunities to the table. Things like pinpoint predictive accuracy and automating these massively complex tasks. But at the same time, it forces us to completely rethink leadership, especially for those entrepreneurs who've built their entire careers on experience and, just pure gut feeling. I want you to think of it this way. Imagine you're a seasoned pilot. You've been flying for decades. You know your plane inside and out. Then, all of a sudden, you get a new co-pilot, an AI, that can process millions of data points in a split second. How does that change your job? What skills suddenly become more important? Which ones maybe less so? That's exact dynamic we're digging into here. Now, to really get our heads around a question this big, we can't just talk about hypotheticals. We need a real-world proving ground. And for this particular study, that proving ground is Sri Lanka's absolutely massive apparel industry. So we're zooming right in to see how this all plays out on the ground. And listen, this is no small-scale operation we're talking about. To get a sense of the sheer scale, just look at this number. The apparel industry makes up a staggering 44% of Sri Lanka's total exports. It is an absolute cornerstone of the entire national economy. And beyond just the dollars and cents, think about the human impact. This industry directly employs around 350,000 people. So any huge technological shift here doesn't just affect spreadsheets, it has a real impact on hundreds of thousands of lives and families. This whole situation makes Sri Lanka's apparel sector the perfect laboratory for this research. You see, for years, their big advantage was all about being efficient and low cost. But now, to compete on a global scale, they have to pivot, and pivot hard, towards technology and innovation. It's basically a pressure cooker where the impact of AI on leadership is just going to be impossible to ignore. So, with all that context, how does this build to the central mystery? What exactly are these researchers trying to uncover in this high-pressure environment? Okay, so first things first, we need to be crystal clear about the kind of leadership we're talking about here. This isn't just your standard management style. No, entrepreneurial leadership is all about seeing opportunities that others miss, pushing for brand new ideas, and having the courage to take smart, calculated risks. It's a really active, forward-looking way of leading. And this right here is the central conflict. On one side, you have the leader's greatest traditional asset, their intuition, something they've built up over years and years of experience. And on the other side, you have AI, offering cold, hard data that can sometimes fly directly in the face of that very intuition. So how does a leader navigate that? Which brings us to the big primary research question. And notice, it's not a simple yes or no question. It's about the extent of the influence. Does AI make these leaders a little bit more effective? A whole lot more? Or does it completely change the very definition of what effective even means anymore? That is the core puzzle they're trying to solve. So how in the world you go about answering a question that big? Well, you need a solid blueprint. Let's take a quick look at the methodology, the actual game plan for how these researchers are going to decode this really complex relationship. This diagram pretty much gives us the entire study at a glance. It's the visual roadmap. And the flow is super clear. It starts with adopting AI, which then influences how effective a leader is, which in turn drives concrete business outcomes, like efficiency and innovation. It's like a chain reaction. And the way they're going to measure all this is actually brilliant in its simplicity. It's a three-step process. First, they go wide. They send out a huge survey to get the big picture numbers. Then they go deep. They do one-on-one interviews to get the stories and the context behind those numbers. And finally, they combine the two to create this really rich, complete picture. It's about getting both the what and the why. Okay, so we've looked at the what and the how, but let's zoom back out for a second. Why does a study focused on just one industry in one country actually matter to the rest of us? What are the bigger takeaways here for everyone? Well, the practical value here is potentially huge. I mean, the findings from this could give us a roadmap for any industry trying to bring in AI.
It could totally reshape how we train future leaders, give current leaders real, actionable insights, and even guide policymakers. Heck, it could update the curriculum in business schools. This isn't just academic stuff, it's about building a playbook for the future. And all of this leads to what might be the single most important idea to come out of this research: this concept of hybrid intelligence. This is the big idea, folks. The future isn't about human versus machine. It's about creating a seamless partnership where a leader's experience and intuition work together with AI's incredible analytical power. It's a powerful, powerful synergy. So let's end with this thought to chew on. If AI becomes that ultimate co-pilot, handling all the complex data, all the predictions, what's left for the human leader to do? What is their most valuable, their most irreplaceable skill? Is it empathy? Is it creativity? Maybe moral judgment? Figuring that out, well, that's the next great challenge, isn't it?